Most people think men just want sex, but what if I told you that what makes a man truly happy in bed has nothing to do with what you do and everything to do with how you make him feel while you're doing it? If you've ever wondered what really keeps a man coming back, not just physically but emotionally, this might be the one thing you've been overlooking. When it comes to making a man truly happy in bed, the biggest misconception is thinking it's all about technique or physical moves. What actually separates a good experience from an unforgettable one is something much deeper: emotional connection. A man may not always express this outright, but when he feels emotionally connected, everything becomes more intense. His desire, his pleasure, and even his vulnerability. Many people overlook this because they assume men are more surface level or only focused on the physical side of intimacy. But the truth is, men crave to feel chosen, desired, and seen by the person they're with. When he feels like it's not just about sex, but about him, who he is, not just what he can do, that's when it hits a different level. Emotional connection doesn't mean you have to sit and have a deep, hour-long talk before anything happens. It's in the way you look at him, how you touch him, the little smiles, the energy you bring into the room. It's in your willingness to be real and not perform. It's the difference between doing something to impress and doing something because you want him to feel special. When a man senses that your attention is on him, not on how you look or whether you're doing everything right, it creates an energy that turns everything up. He starts to relax, his guard comes down, and he feels safe to let go. That's when you start seeing a different side of him, one that's softer, more playful, more giving. Sometimes a single whisper can turn him on more than anything physical. Just a sentence like, "I love being here with you," or "I can't stop thinking about you," can unlock a feeling in him that he didn't even know he was waiting for. It makes him feel like the experience isn't just a moment, but a shared memory you're both creating together. And that makes him feel emotionally valued, not just physically satisfied. The physical part becomes richer, more responsive, more alive. Even eye contact can do more than a complicated move. It tells him, "I'm here with you fully." That kind of presence is rare and incredibly attractive. So while physical attraction and chemistry matter, what elevates everything is how emotionally safe and admired he feels with you. That safety creates the freedom to express himself without holding back. And in that freedom, he gets to experience a deeper level of intimacy. It's in that space where pleasure becomes not just physical release, but emotional connection, something that lingers long after the moment has passed. Most women don't realize how powerful their words are in the bedroom, not just the seductive ones, but the affirming, encouraging ones. Positive reinforcement is one of the quickest and most underestimated ways to make a man happy in bed. It's not about feeding his ego blindly, but about highlighting what you enjoy, letting him know what feels good, and reassuring him that he's doing well. When a man feels like he's winning with you, he naturally wants to give more. He becomes more confident, more experimental, and more focused on your pleasure. That all starts with something as simple as a genuine compliment. Many men carry silent insecurities when it comes to pleasing their partner. They wonder if they're enough, if they're doing it right, if you're enjoying it, or if you're just being polite. When those doubts creep in, it pulls them out of the moment. But when you give him clear, sincere feedback, like "that feels amazing," or "I love when you do that," it grounds him in the experience. He stops second-guessing. He tunes in more. He enjoys himself more because he knows he's making you happy. That reassurance doesn't just help him, it creates a cycle where both of you feel more connected and relaxed. Even more powerful is when you appreciate his effort, not just the result. Telling him, "I love how into this you are," or "You're making me feel so wanted right now," taps into something deeper than performance. It tells him you notice his presence, his intention, and that matters more than perfection. That's where a man finds the confidence to open up, to be less in his head, and to enjoy the experience as something shared rather than judged. That's the energy that makes things better with time, instead of awkward or routine. Also, don't underestimate the impact of your reactions. The way you moan, breathe, respond, those are forms of reinforcement too. They signal that what he's doing is working, that you're with him in the moment, and that you're enjoying what's unfolding. Silence, unless you're naturally quiet and still highly expressive in other ways, can be confusing, but a little vocal feedback, even subtle, keeps the connection strong and the experience emotionally alive. That doesn't mean putting on a show, it means being unfiltered, letting your natural reactions come out, and allowing yourself to be moved by the moment. A lot of women think they have to be extraordinary in bed to be memorable, but the truth is, being appreciative and responsive already makes you stand out, because it tells a man that he's enough for you, that what he's giving you is felt, seen, and wanted. And when a man feels that way, he doesn't just want to please you physically, he wants to keep emotionally investing in you. That's what builds intimacy over time. A lot of women put pressure on themselves to be experienced, to know all the right moves or positions, thinking that's what makes a man happy in bed. But the truth is, experience isn't what makes intimacy unforgettable. Curiosity is. What men truly respond to is your interest in them, your desire to explore what feels good for both of you, and the willingness to be open, present, and engaged in the moment. You're a willingness to be open, present, and engaged in the moment. When you show that you're curious about his body, his reactions, and his desires, not because you're trying to impress him, but because you want to understand him, it creates an electric dynamic that's far more powerful than any practiced routine. Curiosity brings a kind of playfulness into the experience that makes everything feel lighter and more exciting. It removes the pressure to perform or be perfect, and instead turns intimacy into a mutual discovery. A simple "what do you like?" or "show me how you want it" can be incredibly sexy. It gives him space to express himself without fear of judgment, and it tells him you're not just there to be good, you're there to connect. That mindset shifts everything. It becomes less about getting it right and more about creating something together that's fluid and real. Men find it incredibly attractive when a woman is confident enough to ask questions, try new things, and explore without needing to already know everything. It shows emotional security, and it sends a message. I'm here with you, not stuck in my own head. That presence invites him to let go too. Even if something feels new or awkward at first, the fact that you're both in it together turns it into something memorable. It becomes less about technique and more about the shared energy between you, how you make each other feel, not just what you physically do. Sometimes just shifting your attention to his reactions, the way he breathes, how his body responds, whether he tenses or relaxes, gives you all the feedback you need. That's what curiosity looks like in action, noticing, responding, playing. You don't need to lead with expertise when you can lead with attention. Men are intuitive to that energy. They can feel when you're genuinely exploring versus when you're just doing what you think you're supposed to do. And when you treat the moment like a living, breathing exchange instead of a performance, it builds trust. That trust is what makes him open up more, ask for what he wants, and offer you the same in return. In fact, when a woman approaches sex with curiosity, she often brings out sides of a man he didn't even know existed. It encourages him to be more expressive, more generous, and more in tune with the moment. And in that space of mutual curiosity, both people feel free, not to be perfect, but to be present. And that's what creates chemistry that lasts. Men might not admit it openly, but they crave to feel like the hero in the relationship, especially in intimate moments. One of the quickest ways to make a man feel happy and connected in bed is through smart ego stroking. Not empty flattery, but genuine appreciation that hits where it matters most. A man wants to feel wanted, admired, and chosen. When you make him feel like he's the one you desire, the one who excites you, the one who can satisfy you like no one else can, something deep inside him lights up. His energy shifts, his confidence increases, and his desire to please you intensifies. It's not about manipulation, it's about feeding the part of him that wants to be your source of pleasure and excitement. When a man feels like he's winning with you, like he's doing a good job and being appreciated for it, he becomes more generous, more affectionate, and more tuned in. He wants to give you more, not because you're asking for it, but because your energy makes him feel powerful and needed. This doesn't require dramatic gestures. It can be in the way you look at him, how you gasp or smile when he touches you, or the way you say his name like it means something special. Those small signals tell him he's in the right place, with the right person, doing the right thing. That kind of reassurance relaxes him. And when a man is relaxed and confident, he performs at a whole different level. Ego stroking becomes especially powerful when it's tied to your desire. Instead of just saying, "You're so good," make it personal. Say things like, "I love the way you touch me," or "No one turns me on like you do." It tells him that he's not just good in general, he's good for you. That specificity makes all the difference. He doesn't just feel attractive, he feels uniquely desired. And when he feels that, he becomes more expressive, more vulnerable, and more emotionally connected in return. It creates a loop where your excitement fuels his confidence, and his confidence heightens the entire experience for both of you. Even the way you initiate or respond matters. When you reach for him first, or when you pull him closer, it says, "I want you." That alone can make a man feel more appreciated than any words ever could. The most confident men still want to feel chosen by the woman they're with, not just accepted, but actively desired. When you tap into that, you're not just making him happy in the moment, you're creating a lasting impression that sticks with him. He'll remember the way you made him feel, the way you lit up because of him. And that's what keeps him emotionally engaged, not just physically satisfied, because when his ego is fed with authenticity, it doesn't make him arrogant. It makes him loyal, loving, and more deeply connected to you. One of the biggest myths about intimacy is that it's all about what you do, but the truth is the real magic comes from how you are in the moment. Presence is far more powerful than performance. A woman who is fully there, mentally, emotionally, and physically, creates a connection that no technique can compete with. When a man is with someone who is clearly enjoying herself, who is reacting to him, locked in eye contact, breathing with him, and not thinking about how she looks or what comes next, it sends him into a deeper level of experience. It makes him feel wanted, trusted, and emotionally pulled in. And that's when the intimacy turns from something physical into something unforgettable. Presence means you're not trying to follow a script. You're not worrying about whether you're doing it right or if you measure up to someone else. You're not in your head judging yourself, or worse, judging him. You're simply allowing yourself to be real, to feel, to respond. And that raw authenticity makes a man feel something more than attraction. It makes him feel connected. When you're present, your energy becomes more magnetic, more sensual, more alive. That's the kind of presence that makes him slow down, breathe deeper, and tune into you even more. He doesn't want to rush through it. He wants to stay in it with you. And that feeling is rare. So when he feels it, it stays with him. Many women believe that they have to impress a man in bed by doing more, trying harder, or mimicking what they think he wants based on what they've seen or heard. But often all that effort leads to disconnect. It feels forced, it feels rehearsed. What a man wants more than anything is to feel that you're with him, not performing for him. The most attractive thing you can do is let yourself be in the moment. Laugh if something unexpected happens. Moan when something feels good. Say what you're thinking or what you want. That honesty makes the experience so much richer for him because it feels like you're not just giving him your body, you're sharing the moment completely. There's something intensely intimate about being with someone who is unfiltered, who isn't putting on a show. When you're present, he sees you in your realest form, and men crave that kind of vulnerability more than they know how to say. It gives him permission to drop his own guard, to stop trying to perform himself, and just enjoy the energy between you. That's when everything feels easy, natural, and exciting. That's when touch becomes more meaningful, when kisses linger longer, and when the whole moment becomes about connection, not just sensation. Being present also means listening to your own body. Let it guide you. Move the way you want to move. Breathe the way you need to breathe. Respond to what feels good and speak up when you want more of something. This kind of self-awareness is incredibly sexy to a man because it shows that you're not only confident, but comfortable in your own skin. And comfort is contagious. When you're at ease, he relaxes too. The walls come down, the space becomes safer, more playful, more charged. Ultimately, the sexiest thing you can bring into the bedroom is your full attention, your focus, your energy. When you're fully there, everything becomes amplified. Touch feels more electric, words carry more weight, and eye contact becomes its own language. A woman who is present creates a space where a man can lose himself, and that's what makes him come back. Not because of what you did, but because of how you made him feel. A lot of people think intimacy ends the moment the physical part is over, but for most men, what happens afterward can be just as meaningful as what happens during, aftercare. The way you connect, touch, speak, or simply stay present with him after the moment carries an emotional weight that leaves a lasting impression. It's not just about cuddling or sweet words. It's about how you make him feel once the high of the experience settles. That space is delicate. It's where he's most open, most vulnerable, and most likely to either feel deeply connected or quietly dismissed. And many women don't realize how much of a difference this makes in how a man views the entire experience. Aftercare isn't always about grand romantic gestures. Sometimes it's something as small as running your fingers through his hair, laying your head on his chest, or simply staying close for a few extra minutes. That quiet closeness tells him this wasn't just about the act, this was about us. Men are often taught to separate emotion from sex. But when a woman creates a soft, warm, and safe space afterward, it gives him permission to feel without guilt. He doesn't have to rush back into being strong or stoic. He can just be. And that feeling is rare. That feeling is what makes a man emotionally connect in a way that keeps him thinking about you long after the moment has passed. Simple words like, "I loved that," or "I feel so close to you right now," can send a powerful message. It's not about being dramatic, it's about being real. Letting him know that the connection meant something to you affirms to him that he matters, not just as a physical partner, but as a person, And when a man feels emotionally significant in your eyes, that's when he stops seeing intimacy as something casual. He begins to associate it with depth, comfort, and meaning. It changes the way he approaches you. It deepens the emotional bond without needing to say much at all. Even silence can be powerful if you're still physically connected. Holding hands, tracing his skin with your fingers, or just lying together in stillness. That physical closeness without pressure creates a kind of peace that speaks louder than words. It's not about making the moment last forever. It's about showing him that you're not just disappearing emotionally once it's over. Men don't always articulate it, but they feel it deeply when a woman lingers after, when she stays close, or looks at him with warmth instead of detaching quickly. That brief moment can reinforce that what just happened was mutual, valuable, and safe. In contrast, when a woman rushes to clean up, check her phone, or emotionally pull away right after, even without meaning to, it can send a message that she was never really there, that the moment was more about completing a task than sharing something real. And that disconnect can leave a man confused, even if the physical part was great. What he remembers most isn't always what happened, it's how he felt in the seconds after. That's why aftercare matters so much more than people assume. What truly makes a man happy in bed isn't just the pleasure of the moment, it's the feeling of being chosen, appreciated, and emotionally seen afterward. The softness you show, the presence you hold, and the way you make him feel safe in his vulnerability. That's what creates a memory he keeps returning to. That's what makes intimacy feel not just physical, but personal. It's not the climax that sticks with him. It's the quiet comfort and closeness that came right after. At the heart of it all, making a man truly happy in bed isn't about complicated techniques, wild surprises, or being someone you're not. It's about presence, curiosity, emotional connection, and authenticity. It's about making him feel like he's not just being touched, but truly felt. When you affirm him, respond to him, admire him, and stay connected even after the moment is over, you're doing far more than satisfying a physical need. You're feeding something deeper. You're giving him the emotional safety to be open, the confidence to give more, and the feeling that he's genuinely wanted. That's what turns intimacy into connection, and connection into something unforgettable. Because when a man feels emotionally chosen, not just physically enjoyed, that's when you don't just have his attention for the night, you have his heart long after it.